And that's it. The World Cup is over. We have a champion. World Cup-এর এই শেষ হয়ে যাওয়ার ব্যাপারটা আমি মনে হয় এখনো পুরোপুরিভাবে প্রসেস করতে পারতেছি না, বাট আই থিঙ্ক আফটার এভরি সিঙ্গল ওয়ার্ল্ড কাপ উই ফিল লাইক যে একটা ভ্যাকেশন আসলে শেষ হয়ে গেছে এবং নাও উই হ্যাভ টু গো ব্যাক টু রিয়ালিটি অ্যান্ড গো অ্যাবাউট আদার বোরিং স্টাফ কজ নাথিং ক্যান বি এজ এক্সাইটিং অ্যাজ ফুটবল। ওয়েলকাম টু সুজুকি প্রেজেন্স কাপ আলাপ, এবং দুঃখের সাথে বলতে হচ্ছে আজকে আমাদের লাস্ট এপিসোড, অ্যান্ড ডেফিনেটলি I have sort of hidden the the biggest surprise for the last episode. Today, we have an extremely special guest. Today, we are not just going to talk about the World Cup. We are not just going to talk about the final. We are going to look into the future, and future of not just international football, to be more specific, future of Bangladesh football. So today, I have with me the one and only, the head coach, the gaffer, Thomas Dooley with me. Thank you so much for making time, Thomas.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
All right, so I'm going to make your life a little bit difficult here today. I think that's my core objective because I really want to know so many things from you. There are like so many questions. I am a little bit starstruck because you are the head coach. You are now one of us. We literally treat everyone who comes in and joins our teams as part of the family. And a lot of questions, but first of all, a big fan of what you have done in your career, playing in the World Cup, captaining your side in a World Cup. I think that's absolutely something that every single football fan or a football player dreams of. So, Thomas, I would just like to start off by asking that this World Cup is new in so many dimensions. So many things happened for the first time. So many things that we have never seen before. New rules being introduced. New teams that we almost never heard of have participated and absolutely showed their caliber. If we talk about 𝗂𝗵𝗴𝗲, if we talk about Curaçao, all these teams, even Jordan, they have come, they have competed, and they have shown that football doesn't need to be of 10, 8 specific teams, specific countries. You can expand and you can go on and push for it. So, in general, what did you feel about this World Cup? And as a fan, did you really enjoy it?
Yes, I enjoyed it because this is the biggest event in the world, any sports event. And obviously, if we are football fans and players, it's something that we always, every 4 years, looking forward to it. And I think there are so many positive things in this tournament, but there are also some negative things that for me personally, that I saw. But in general, the positive things are that we extended a little bit to getting more teams involved in that. So that not only the best 32 teams get the feeling of being a part of the World Cup. I mean, the qualification is a part of the World Cup, but it's not the World Cup. Right. So it's just a qualification for something huge, very big. And giving some other countries the opportunity to be a part of it, that I think it's great. So there are some underdogs that you can see that they're stepping up and make those games sometimes interesting. Talk to Germany about that. They got the first impression about how that is, and they had to go home. Then another thing is with the rules. Some of the rules are, we should not make it too complicated anymore.
Yeah.
So it's something that if the referee doesn't understand the rules, sometimes it's very, very difficult. Then the VAR is something that I like a lot because there's so much money involved that we cannot just leave it up to one referee who makes a decision, because the referee is also human and he cannot see everything, and so we have to find out on TV what really happened with slow motion. Was the ball in? Wasn't in? Did somebody had a handball and didn't see it and it could have been a goal or something like this? Fouls. I think if there's an outcome that changed the game, we should look at the TV and find out if it's the truth or not. And there's always a gray area. But in general, we saw beautiful games. We saw an amazing team like England who had to fight in Argentina, in Mexico, because it's what I didn't like is the three countries. They are so big. that you have climate changes, you have travel, the fans have to travel so much, cost so much money, that it's not, if a country like the US or a country like Canada, they should have their own World Cup because it's big enough. Now you're going to 3 different countries, it's just too much. And especially like with England, that they had to go to Mexico, playing in a high altitude. I played there twice, and if you're not used to it, if you're not trained there, then you can't breathe. It's after 20 minutes you don't have oxygen anymore. It's not enough to burn, to get energy. So that's why Mexico, La Paz in Bolivia, same thing. They're so high that you can't actually, when you're not prepared for that, you can't play. But England played there, couldn't prepare, played there for 120 minutes against the Mexican team with 100 or 90,000 people, fans. It's a crazy stadium. So pollution, everything is in there, and they made it with 10 players. And then they played against Finland in the heat, in the humidity. I think it was in Kansas or Miami, and it's the same thing. It's like you're playing in a sauna. You can't breathe.
Absolutely.
So those kind of things, but still you can see that the teams are focused for those games, and this is amazing. And then obviously, and we're going to talk about that, the final, it's obviously something special.
Absolutely. So obviously your team participated in the World Cup USA, and they did really well. They were really going very strongly into the matches, and especially into the knockout stages. So they faced a very determined and aggressive Belgium. Up until that match, Belgium wasn't really firing in all cylinders, but in that match, Belgium really turned up. So what do you think USA did wrong in that specific match?
I think that we found our limit. So it is. I was surprised in the beginning about the cohesiveness and the team and the team spirit that we had when we came out in the group stage and played very well organized with high pressing and a lot of energy. The stadiums are obviously, all the games are sold out, but we had like 70% of Americans behind us, and I think that helped also to push us to the different category. And I was thinking, with that kind of a fan base behind, and we play like this, I think we can go all the way through. But as soon as we come into like a team who is in the top rankings, we could see the difference between us and between them. So our defense is not I don't want to say smart or intelligent enough, but the knowledge of that game is not there. I think we don't have the quality defensively to compete with the big teams, and Belgium is one of the better teams in the top 10. So it's something that we cannot have, and I think the difference is because of the culture. It's in America we don't have the football culture like they have it in South America or in Europe. When you grow up as a kid and you breathe football, you bleed football, you hear football anywhere you go, in the school, at the home, at the dinner, at the breakfast, you're buying something in a city, going to a city or going to a sport event, everybody talks about football. You learn on TV and radio, you learn so much in outside your training session that you understand better, you feel better. And when you don't have that, you're just focusing on your training, maybe 3-4 times of training, but that's it. You don't have that culture. And look at the Argentina, how they are excited for the national anthem, how they scream. And you know, this is something, you look at the kids in the school, they're dancing already the same thing like the fans do in the stadium, and how passionate they are. That makes it different, and we are far away, and the same is in Asia. We are also away from that.
Absolutely. I think one area that I really wanted to hear your opinion on is basically, we all talk about that managers face a very great difficulty when it comes to handling national teams, and especially teams like Spain, Argentina, teams that are gunning for the World Cup. For them, getting those players for a very limited amount of time, just before the World Cup, the camp starts maybe 2 weeks prior to the event taking place. So how difficult it is for a manager to manage an international side as opposed to, let's say, a club where you get an expanded amount of time, you get pre-season, you get time off, you get extended years to really design your team, you get to choose players, buy them. But when it's an international team, then you get every single resource tends to be getting sort of limited. So how difficult it is for a manager to go, let's say, with a team like USA, go with a team like Belgium, or even, let's say, Brazil. Ancelotti got a very little time to really gel his team together and prepare the project for the World Cup. So how difficult it is, and how do professional managers really tackle that challenge?
It is very difficult, and you mentioned it like the preparation. 3 weeks preparation, you wish. Sometimes you have 10 days. The FIFA dates are 10 days.
Yes.
And the 10 days are when the clubs release the players. So then it depends where the player is coming from. You have 2 games from those 10 days, 2 days less, that's 8 days. Then you have a day before the 2 days, a day before the game on each match.
Right.
You have only 1 hour in a stadium where you can train. Then you have 1 day after the first game. It's a recovery session, it's not a training session. And the first day is when the teams, the international players, travel to the location where you are. They most likely arrive maybe the next day.
Right.
So you're missing that kind of a training session. So you have a maximum 5 days of training. So, and if we like the teams that we have here in Asia with Bangladesh, Philippines, and so on, we sometimes can control the league, and we can say, you know what, hey, let's get 10 more days with the local players, and we can train with the local players. That is better. That is good. At least you have a little bit more time with them. But when the FIFA dates are coming, so everything has to be perfect. The training session has to be perfect, because in those 4 training sessions, you have to develop the players into understanding how you want to play and how.
Absolutely.
And everything takes time. It's like a repetition. You have to do it over and over again. That's why with the club team it's much easier, because you have the whole year and train them all the time. So the meetings, and most of the time for me is like the most time I spend is organizing meetings, having individual meetings with the players, having team meetings with the defense or offense, or maybe preparing for the game, how we want to play. And then we have a meeting about the opponents, how they're going to play. So, and in those 10 days, I sleep maybe 2-3 hours a night. And that's because you're thinking about what can I tell him.
Absolutely.
A little bit more about how I want to play, or the mistakes that he does. I need to show him, I need to find the right clips to show him, look, this is what you can't do, or why didn't you see that? And it's very often that you put the picture in front of the player and you tell him, okay, you get the ball right here, what are you going to do? Obviously, I play the ball right here. Okay, then you let the video go and he doesn't do it.
He doesn't do it, right.
Because he doesn't see it. When you see the picture on the TV, then you say, okay, yeah, that it is. And that shows it's kind of, they are not scanning. They are not, they look, I always say like the tunnel blick. You're looking just like where the ball is and just where one player is, but you don't see the players around. Right. That comes with repetition. So you have to, even the time when you are not, like right now, I still have individual meetings or phone calls with a couple of players, tell them, we cannot make you fit. I need you 100% fit. When you're coming to the camp, we have only 3-4 training sessions. If I load you up with training, hard training, you cannot play anymore. You'll be done. So every players has to take much more control of their own life and about their preparation than in a regular club team. So that makes it difficult. And then obviously, when you can see the situation with Tuchel and the game against Argentina. It's Tuchel's fault. And not really Tuchel's fault. It's after the game, you as a fan, you always know you should have done this. But if you're being in charge of it and you have to make quick decisions and you just see how the game goes and you think at that moment, okay, we're going to do A or B, then the outcome is sometimes different. And if we would have stayed with the same system and play like that and maybe putting another offensive player in, maybe giving Messi a little bit more space up front, and then maybe they're losing 2-3-1 and say, how can he? Why didn't he, block or park the bus in front of the goal? So whatever it is, when you have to find out what happened, and when you look what happened, you can see the defense didn't do a good job. You're putting the biggest guy in, you like the smart players in and the good defenders in, but then the shortest player on the field get the header in the 6-yard box where the goalkeeper is, and you have 3 tall defenders in there and they're not marking. So what, should Tuchel come in and hit that ball out with his head? I mean, this is something that, you know, it has to be also kind of on the players, and they have to step up and be ready. But they are also not machines. They are no robots. They're making mistakes, and we're just off hoping that, you know, the mistakes are not in the area where they can score. So
Thomas, welcome to Bangladesh. This is a crazy nation. We absolutely love in a crazy manner, and we also get very sentimental very easily. This is a nation that is driven by emotion and sentiment, and we love our football, we love our players, we love our manager, and everyone who sort of associates themselves with this whole Bangladeshi football culture. So one thing I would really like to know, both as a fan, as a football enthusiast, as a content creator, what really gave you that sense that I want to manage this team, I want to be in this country, I want to see it through, I want to see how this culture of football evolves, and I want to be a part of it. What really triggered that sentiment within you that you wanted to be a part of this project?
it is what I did in my past. I was 43 years in the business, in the highest level, playing, coaching, sporting director, mentor. So I'm working in that kind of environment, and I've wrote a book about the truths about success in football nobody teaches. And that's exactly what I found out in the Philippines, what I found out in Vietnam, what I found out in Guyana, and I saw it also in Bangladesh. So when you see about the big teams like in Bayern Munich, Real Madrid and Liverpool, they don't have those kind of problems because they are already developed. And with the other rankings where we are, there is a reason why Bangladesh is 180. And I watched a little bit of, there are a couple of reasons, but I watched a little bit of the game and I saw that they're making so easy mistakes when we play out of the back. They are making easy mistakes, not marking the player. They are, you know, keeping the ball too long. They don't play football. It's kind of sometimes just a kick and rush thing.
Right.
So, and I think those are very important if you want to develop the game. You have to change that, and that's a part of thinking. So the mentality of the game, so understanding the game. In football, everything is about speed. How fast can you pass the ball? How fast, not just how fast you can run, but how fast can you realize the situation? How fast can you execute what needs to be done? How long does it take you to get the ball under control? And how fast can you understand, so anticipate a situation? So those kind of things, decision making on the field, you know, that each position has actually, when you think about it, each position in the team has maybe, let's say 6, 7, 8 options.
Right.
If you get the ball, you have 8 options what you need to do. But nobody can tell you what the options those are because they're not thinking about that. But if you're building that kind of like a external hard drive in your head, it's your brain is a muscle that you also can train, like your legs.
Absolutely.
So, and if you train that over and over again, the situations that you have multiple times in a game that you need to do, if you get that ball and you have 20, 30 yards, nobody's there, and the outside player is right here and the center forward is right there. So you see that situation in front of you, and then you're thinking about it, and then you, okay, this is a situation that I have more often in the game. So when I have that situation, I know exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to take 10 yards, and then I play the ball to the center forward, and then he can lay it off, and then we have some patterns in there. Yeah. So if you know that, then you know exactly when you see the situation, I'm going to execute that. And you get a better player because you make faster decisions. If somebody plays with both feet, I don't have to have 3 touches to get the ball under control to play with my right foot. I can receive it with my right and I can play with my left. Now I play much faster.
Right.
So if I play much faster, I'm a better player. So on those kind of things, nobody talks about. When I tell you about, you know, how the mentality is a part of the winning the game, about support, you know, you have to support each other. You have to be technical good. You have to tactically, you have to understand how we press and all that stuff. So then in the end I said, you know, what are the 2 most important things in the game? What do you think? questions for you now.
I think understanding the teammates and being in the same wavelength with the other 10 players.
Okay. And that's how the players think too. We think way too complicated. The two most important things is we need to score a goal and we can't get one. So if they cannot score on us and we win every game, everybody's happy and it's great. But you need to think about that. You're a defender and the only thing that you have is that they can't score. Spain, they get only one goal against in the whole tournament.
Crazy.
That's why they also won the championship.
Yeah.
So it is important that you understand that you as a center back, your job is not scoring a goals, play some beautiful passes and all that stuff. No, don't lose the ball when you play out of the back. Mark the guy that he can score. Help each other that the other guy can score. That's what your job is. That's why you be in. If you cannot do that, maybe we need to find a place in the midfield or maybe as a forward. As a forward, you have only one thing. You need to put the ball in the net or maybe be dangerous or maybe assist. That's your job. And that's what they need to understand. And in the midfield is the brain of the whole game. You have to be both. You have to help in the defense. You have to help up front. You have to get the ball. You be creative, all that stuff. So thinking. You need to change we need to change the way we think in the game. When we change the way we think, we change the way we train. And that means we change the way we play. So everything happens for a reason. And you see so many times when the player gives the comments again, yeah, I need to play right there. Okay, why don't you play? Because you played it right there, dribble in and losing the ball. So when they see that first time, it has to be a memory in your head that next time when I get that ball, oh, 𝗂𝗻𝗂 is right there, I can play with him. But I never look at that. So I need to start thinking and looking about it. And that's what I found out also with Bangladesh. You can change that.
Yes, absolutely.
If we are all on the same page, if the players want to do it, if the players want to work hard, if the players going to listen, follow my advice, we will be successful. And that happens in the past a couple of times. And, that's why I took that job also. Guyana was also a little bit difficult because of traveling back and forth. I want to work every day as a full-time, not just when the FIFA dates are. That's what they changed it. And then I said, I'm not coming anymore because then I have to travel back and forth and from Europe or Philippines back to Guyana is like 35 hours flight changing. They're changing 3 planes and, it's too much. And I'm not 20 anymore. I didn't fly business class so in economy, so I can handle that anymore.
You might not be 20, but I'm pretty sure you still beat me in a sprint. It wouldn't be
I guess.
Yes, it would be. So, Thomas, we were discussing a very important thing before the show started. The culture of football in Bangladesh. We know for a fact that we are not the most gifted in terms of physicality, natural born players, or maybe even in infrastructure level. We have a lot of shortcomings and we are very accepting of it. We do realize that this is a starting point for Bangladesh football, and with the help of you and all the players that we have in our repertoire at this point in time, we probably can dream about achieving something. But you mentioned something very important, that the overall culture needs to shift from being a fan to wanting to become a player. So I'd really love you to share that message with everyone also.
Okay, yeah, it is. I was very surprised, funny actually, when I watched in the beginning and I saw Argentina jerseys and all that stuff and like thousands of fans, and I know how the Argentinas are. So, and I think, oh, this is great. I love that. I love those Argentinian people, how excited they are. And then I read the bottom and I was like, this is in Dhaka. I was like, what? And I figured out, then when I talked to Mohsen, my driver, and I talked to other people, like, is that the Argentinian fans here? I was like, yeah, Argentina and Brazil, they're crazy. And I found out more and more, and I think this is amazing. But we don't have that. We have that kind of a culture in there. The love of the game is here, but kids want to be a fan of Argentina and Brazil. And you know how much more or nicer or how much better it would be that you want to be a player and play against Argentina.
Absolutely.
That would be the goal. But we have an issue with infrastructure. So we don't have the clubs where I grew up. I had 800 people in my little village, and we had a U12, a U14, a U16, a U18, U20. We had a men's team, we had a second men's team, and we had a over 35 team.
Wow.
And we had a football field. It wasn't nice. I mean, the lines was also a little bit crooked, but we had a field and we had a clubhouse. So, and we had coaches, parents or maybe ex-players from the club years ago, and we played in the 11th division, the lowest division. So we played football over there.
Yeah.
We don't have, our kids don't have that kind of environment here where they can train. To get there, we need money, we need support from the government, from sponsors and people, private investor who say, you know what, I want to support that, I want to build an academy. We got a couple of academies here already where people are coming up with that. And this is fantastic. It's the first step. The second step, the first step is like we have people like that. Second thing is our national team needs to be successful.
Right.
If the national team is not successful, people don't want to be involved in that.
Absolutely.
The people who don't want to spend money, don't want to support us, we need sponsors. All those things that we can actually filter it down to the youth national team, so we make it a little bit more interesting for kids. I want to be a youth national team player also. And we creating a really like a community culture where each community, each school district has their own club, and maybe somebody wants to step up and say, you know what, I want to build a club, so I need the 14, 16, 18-year-old ones and playing in one league, playing against other teams, to building that kind of environment. And I think then the next one is we're trying to find out players, for international players, are getting the experience from the other side, from Europe, from the US, from anywhere in the world where they have professional league, UK, that they have a good development and they can help out, like Hamza. In US we have the Solomon brothers. Obviously they want to play for their national team for the US, but they are Bangladesh citizens also. They can also for Bangladesh. Yeah. I was in German. I have German and American citizenship. I was 3 times close to the German national team, but in the end, I was happy to play for the United States.
Right.
So, and that is something that we should look for, getting those players with a better development over here now, make it more interesting to fans to see what is possible with us here in Bangladesh, and then we have a chance to also one day qualify for the World Cup. It's not easy. It's not in the next World Cup or next 2 World Cups, but never say never, and anything is possible.
So Thomas, I'll be very clear about this. The SAF, the coming SAF, is one of the most important sporting event that, especially related to football, that ever happened in Bangladesh, because this time we the fans are extremely hyped up because our team is good. We have beaten India recently. We have performed in Europe. Thanks to you, have won our first match in Europe, which is some sort of legacy. Playing your first match as a coach and getting the first win in European soil, that definitely means some things to us. So all in all, this is, as I've mentioned in the beginning in this episode, that we are a crazy nation. We love our football. We know how to love crazily, and we are extremely sentimental as well. So going into the SAF, as you said that you like to work full-time, you are staying back in Bangladesh, you are spending your time with the infrastructure and the teams, the coaching staff and all. So going into SAF, what is your practical approach? What is your team? Do you have a clear understanding of it by this time? What are some changes probably you would need or want to come in before SAF takes place? And just in general, as much information as we can get out of you regarding SAF, because that is something we the fans of Bangladesh football are absolutely cannot wait for.
I mean, I know that is obviously the biggest tournament, and we haven't won it for 23 years, and we haven't won anything for 23 years. That is was something in my eye too, that it is possible, and we're gonna do everything to make that happen. If I'm looking in my past, I achieved a lot of successes, and some of the teams were asking me, what is your goal? What is your dream with us? And I told them, and we got that goal too. And I went to Vietnam. After 20 years, we won a championship, and I think this is doable. And I want to talk to the players how we're gonna do it, what we're gonna do, and I believe in it. I believe 100%, and I want them to believe it for 100% too. This is the best time for us to do that. Obviously, the other teams, they also understand that we playing with the hype through the fans, but also with the players, with the change. You know, now a new coach comes in, like you mentioned. We won that game in Europe. What is not an easy game. It wasn't an easy game, but we did that. I saw the development in those 10 days. We had not 10 days, like we played a game against the U23 in closed door, and we made a lot of mistakes, and we talked about that in those 6 remaining days before the game, and told the players how we want to play and what we need to change in meetings, and they changed it. Was it perfect? No, it was not. We still made a lot of mistakes, and we changed something that gave me hope that they are willing to listen, willing to change, and they felt that it works. So, and that's very important, that you do something, working on something that works, and that's why I was so happy. Now I see the fans behind Argentina, and I'm 100% sure that they are 100% behind us when we play.
Absolutely.
And that is what I need to. The players know it, but they have to, like I said, they have to think about everything. They have to understand what that means. You know, having those fans coming to our game, SAF game, in a home tournament. What does that mean? That means we need to be like Argentina, but we have to play like Spain, and have this aggressiveness to let them know that this is our territory.
Absolutely.
And this is not going to leave without us being on top.
Yeah.
So, and that's kind of, it's sometimes it's a fine line between being overconfident or maybe being focused. And I think confidence comes with doing something great. And we did something great, and we're going to do more things great. And when that time comes with the SAF, that the players will be ready and fighting for it. Obviously, we constantly be looking for better players, developing our players a little bit, the mindset to going into a game, making less mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes, and I told the players, everybody makes mistakes. You can see it in the World Cup right now, how many mistakes they do. So if they can make mistakes, you can make mistakes too.
Absolutely.
It's about how do you react after mistakes, and make less. So, because you will make mistakes, so make less. If you make 10 mistakes in a normal game, make maybe only 2 or 3. And when you're making mistakes, don't make it in front of the goal, make it somewhere else, so that nothing happens. So those are things that you can also learn, that the closer you get to the goal, the more focused you are, and the more help we need to get. We need to create, and it shows again in this World Cup, if you have a function locker room where everybody likes to be, like in Argentina, if they wouldn't have that locker room that everybody works for each other so hard, and for Messi, you can really see that, you wouldn't go to the final.
Absolutely.
And the same is Germany. 3 times in the World Cup, they go home in early ages, the first 2 times, not even getting to the group stages. For that kind of a country, it's a disaster. But always the same issues, the locker room. The coaches lost the locker room. They are not unite, they are not fighting for each other, didn't have the best players, and also you have to trust the coaches. You know, you cannot tell one player like this and do something for the other ones, and you lose. It is kind of also a job when you have a national team, when they're coming in and only in a short period of time, that you need to bring them together, that they understand. I don't want you to be in the news next week and you are the one who made the mistakes. Because if I don't want that, I'm gonna help you.
Right.
And he is gonna help you too. The right back is helping you also.
Yeah.
But if the right back makes a mistake, you have to help him too. Because you don't want that he is on the paper. Right. I'm gonna help him also. And if you create that something in the locker room, that they are fighting for each other, then it's the half of the thing is done. But we need to change the way we play. I like to play football, and I want to implement that there is thinking. We play only 2 touches, 3 touches maximum, 1 touches sometimes. But we cannot make mistakes when we play out of the back. And when up front, we need a guy who thinks, I want to score that ball. The cross comes in, I'm going to finish this one.
Yeah.
that kind of a mentality we need to find internationally and locally, that we really put the guy in there, say, you know what, I want to be that one. I want to be the one who put the ball in the net. And that's what we're trying to do in those short training sessions and in the way of thinking and changing the way they think. And if we can get that done, and I'm pretty sure to get that done, because otherwise I wouldn't have taken the job.
Absolutely. I absolutely love your confidence. I think it's magnetic, it's contagious. One thing you mentioned, that you have to have the locker room, and that is something I talk with some of the players. I have some good relationships with some of the Bangladeshi football players, and they have been mentioning this over and over again, that the team feels united, the team feels they are part of one singular hive mind, and that gives me a lot of hope. But in Bangladesh, the whole renaissance of football in a way happened through one single name, and that is 𝗂𝗺𝗀 𝗂𝗄𝗎. The arrival of 𝗂𝗺𝗀 𝗂𝗄𝗎 in Bangladesh, an FA Cup winner, a Premier League player who came into Bangladesh, represented Bangladesh, and in his first few games, 4 or 5 games, he was absolutely mercurial, almost on the same level as Messi in Bangladesh's context. So having a player like 𝗂𝗂𝗂, for a manager, what we often say about Argentina is Argentina plays with 2 managers. One is Lionel Scaloni, the other one is Lionel Messi. So for a manager, does it really become, does the task become a little bit easier if you have someone like 𝗂𝗂𝗂, if you have someone like Jamal Bhai, who is a born leader, who can go into the field and sort of marshal the troops and tell them what the manager really wants out of them? So does it really help to have that kind of a profile in the team?
Of course. I mean, and the higher the player plays in that team, the better it is, because they understand the football. The football is about understanding. What is it all about? And if you play in a Premier League, Champions League, and those kind of a level, you think differently. Otherwise, you would not make it.
Right.
So, and if you have somebody on that field who speaks the same language on the field, who understands that, that's why I also tell the players, you know, you have him, find him. If you don't know where to play, play to him, he can handle it. And if he cannot handle it, so be it. And then somebody helps him to, that nothing happen. But 𝗂𝗂𝗂 is also such a, there are also different parts of players that you can find. Some with an ego because they play like that in that level, and some coming in is like humbled.
Yeah.
And 𝗂𝗂𝗂 is absolutely a leader of the team.
Yes.
He's not somebody who wants to show off. He's not somebody who wants to make big noise and all that stuff. He's going behind the door and talking to the players. He knows what is necessary to be successful.
Absolutely.
And get the right. You can see it on the field sometimes. He tells the players something. I don't know what he's telling him, but he will not tell him something that hurts him. So is good for the team. So you don't need a captain band. So I gave him, in the halftime, I gave him, when Jamal came out, gave him the band, but then he gave it away to somebody else. He doesn't want that kind of attention. You don't have to have the band to be a leader, and he doesn't need it. So we can pass it on to somebody else, and that somebody else scored 2 goals. So what can we say?
Absolutely, that's incredible.
All
right, Thomas, I would have really loved to take this conversation even forward. We are really running out of time. I am extending this as much as I possibly can. But I just have to very quickly ask you about the World Cup final that just happened yesterday. Spain dominated their entire way through this World Cup, and they have beaten 2 of the favorites in a manner that you don't really see in a World Cup final. For example, Argentina had 0 shots on target after 120 minutes. They were the defending champions. They were one of the favorites. France, I think, clearly were the favorites for majority of the analysts and football enthusiasts. They were really seeing France going all the way this World Cup. But how do you sort of see a team like Spain performing in the way that they did with such young players, and just in general, how are you actually surprised, or did you really see Spain doing this?
No, I'm not really surprised. I mean, Spain is, as long as I can think of, is a team that is dominating games, passing. It looks always easy because they play simple. They are not doing something special. They play simple. But what they play, football, is perfect. So they have a perfect passing lane. They have a perfect technique, receiving the ball, passing the ball. The power of the pass is always right. So it's the penetration balls, and then they are technical, individual good players. I like Jamal it's not, you cannot even say it's a little Messi anymore. It's a Messi.
Yeah.
So he's as good as he is. And I was surprised from Argentina because I was thinking that they would fight a little bit more offensively,
Right.
that they are trying to play. But from the beginning, they are actually playing with the goalkeeper. So that was a surprise for me. I was thinking about, like they did against the other teams, trying to keep, because they play the same. Just Spain, they play better. So sometimes Argentina played also in the opposite half and kept the ball right there in front of them. I was thinking about that would be sometimes here, sometimes there, but never. They even when they went to that field in that area, they always dropped back to the goalkeeper and played in our own half. I don't know what the thinking was. Was it from the beginning, like let them play, let them get the overhand, and then in the last 10 minutes we step up again, and then the last 10 minutes doesn't come. It didn't come because we got a red card.
Yeah,
they got a red card, and then you cannot do that anymore.
Right.
So from that moment when you got that red card, and I was also from the beginning, they were really, really aggressive. And I was thinking also, if you get a yellow card, you have to be careful. It will be very difficult for the game that you normally play.
Yeah.
And then they dropped back, and then after that was just like a survival mode. We need to get to 120 minutes, go to penalty shots. Otherwise, we don't have a chance. Yeah. And Spain just played their game, and it was fantastic to watch how they play. But as long as I can remember, they always played like that. So 𝗃𝗃 came from Spain also. Barcelona at that time.
That's the name of my page. It's called Talking Tiki
Yeah,
Taka.
no, yeah.
So, Thomas, before we let you go, we are literally at the end part of it. I'll just ask you some rapid fire questions. You don't get much time to think about it. You just pass the ball, because it's like receiving the ball in the penalty box and you don't have any time.
Everything is about
shoot
speed.
for the goal. Yes, absolutely. Everything is about speed. So, let me just quickly go through the questions.
Let me have a quick drink.
Yeah, sure. All right. Quick rapid fire questions with Thomas 𝗠𝗠𝗠𝗠. Biggest tactical takeaway from the World Cup?
Tactical takeaway, keeping possession.
Keeping possession. Best player you ever faced?
I ever faced?
Yeah, as a player.
As a player, Michael Laudrup.
That's some name. Best teammate you ever had?
Best teammate, Rudi Völler.
Best stadium you ever played in?
Azteca.
Toughest striker to defend in world football right now?
That I defended?
No. In world football right now, who is the toughest striker to defend?
Mbappe.
Mbappe, absolutely. But do you consider him a striker or a winger?
I mean a forward. I mean he's in the middle, he's everywhere.
He's everywhere, absolutely. 1994 or 1998? Which World Cup?
1994.
1994. Why is that?
1994 was the best team I've ever played in my club teams or in a national team. It's the best unit we had. And 98 was the worst. And it was the same player. Think about that.
Oh, that's crazy.
That's interesting, right?
Is it age or is it?
No, it was the MLS. Because 94, and it's very interesting, 94 we had 60%, 70% players who never played professionally. They played in college 3 months, they played on the weekends stuff. And we built that team where 1 year we stayed together and worked hard, trained twice a day, played 34 national team games. And then it came the World Cup where we were one family. And then the MLS came, everybody had to go, not everybody, most of them had to go to different cities promoting the game. And they were on billboards, they were on TV shows, they were on newspapers and magazines, everything was about that player. And 98 we came together and it was just ego. There was a group of ego, why is he on the paper, why is he on TV, why not me? They didn't care anymore, it was all why I didn't play. I mean, it was the worst team I've ever played. And that we had no success.
That is pretty brutal and honest.
Yeah, that's the truth.
So, which is more difficult, playing in a World Cup or managing in a World Cup?
I think managing in the World Cup is more stressful.
I think you have to handle so many players and like.
No, it's because when you're a player, you be in the game and you can change things. You are no focusing. You don't even know the fans outside. You're just focusing on the pitch and on the players and looking. But as a coach, you be outside. You have to look about everything, and you have to make decisions. And that is like to be constantly under stress for those 90 minutes. And as a player, you don't feel the stress. You just play.
Absolutely. Possession or counter attack?
Possession.
Back three or back four?
Depends. I like back three, but you have to have the player.
Talent or discipline?
Talent or discipline? Discipline.
A 1-0 difficult victory or an entertaining 3-3 draw?
For me personally, one.
The victory matters.
Of course, 3 points.
One word to describe the Bangladeshi football fandom.
Bangladesh football?
Football fandom.
Crazy. Football crazy.
Football crazy, absolutely. One word to describe your SAF ambition.
Success.
I hope so. So Thomas, thank you so very much for making so much time, sharing so much information, being such a sport, and just in general giving us hope, giving us the courage to dream. And what you said really stuck with me, that we haven't won something in a long period of time. And for a nation that is so crazy about such a certain sport, we truly deserve as fans, as players, and even as a manager, for someone to lift this trophy for Bangladesh. And I wish you all the very best. I hope we get to do this again. I hope we get to talk before the SAF one more time, and would really love to have a celebration party after the SAF once we have won it. So thank you so much, Thomas. If you have any message for the viewers.
Yeah, I mean, I was very happy to see all those Bangladesh fans in the World Cup supporting Brazil and Argentina and some other countries too. Now the World Cup is over, we need to shift the focus on Bangladesh. So I hope I see you all out there supporting us. You could see in the World Cup how important the fans are. Without you guys, we are nothing.
That is absolutely brilliant. So Thomas, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
That's the end. World Cup is over and Suzuki Presents 𝗂𝗂𝗋 is also over. আমি একটা খুবই ব্রিলিয়ান্ট সময় স্পেন্ড করছি আপনাদের সবার সাথে ওয়ার্ল্ড কাপের ম্যাচগুলো দেখে, সেগুলো নিয়ে কথা বলতে। আমার সাথে অ্যামেজিং কিছু প্যানেলিস্টরা ছিল, গেস্টরা ছিল, যারা তাদের ফুটবলিং জ্ঞান, ফুটবলিং ফ্যান্ডম, ফুটবলিং এক্সাইটমেন্ট আমার সাথে, আপনাদের সাথে শেয়ার করছে। সো যারা যারা সুজুকি প্রেজেন্স 𝗂𝗂𝗋 এই 34টা এপিসোড ধরে দেখে আসতেছেন, তাদেরকে অসংখ্য ধন্যবাদ। You are a part of the team and I absolutely love you guys. So আবার হয়তোবা দেখা হবে টি স্পোর্টসের পর্দায়, and আবারও আপনাদের সাথে কথা হবে। আজকের মতো এখান থেকে বিদায় নিচ্ছি, হয়তোবা দেখা হবে খুব শীঘ্রই। থ্যাংক ইউ সো মাচ।
For more updates, subscribe to our YouTube channel and click on the bell icon. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Download 𝗃𝗺𝗃𝗃 app to enjoy exciting games and highlights. Visit 𝗃𝗺𝗃𝗃.com.